G'day Year 11, how you going? Today's final lesson of the week is looking at depreciation. Depreciation is when something loses value over time rather than gaining value over time. It's kind of like the opposite of interest in that rather than it increasing, it goes down. So some things gain value over time, things like house property and that kind of thing, but other things lose value, like cars, or things that will wear and lose their function over time. Now, one way that we can measure depreciation is just using the straight line method. Now, this is the simplest method mathematically. We're going to start with it. Later on, we'll learn about depreciation that does not go in a straight line, but rather starts to flatten out a bit over time. And that's a more realistic model. But we're just going to start with a simple model for now. So a few things to get over with depreciation, a few words to learn. The salvage is a word for the current value of the asset, or how much it costs after a certain period of time. So you can think of it as like you're salvaging some value from this object that is worn out or something like that. But it refers to it even if it hasn't worn out completely. So you could have the salvage of a used car after 5 years. It still runs, it's still perfectly fine. We still call that the salvage value. Now, V subscript O, or VO, is the purchase price of the asset. Basically, the original value. So V for value and O for original, or at zero, is what V subscript O over here stands for. And then D is how much is depreciated per time period. So if it's per year, and then N is the number of time periods. So if it was per year, you would times it by the number of years, but it might depreciate per month or something else, in which case you would have the percentage value there. Okay, so a car is purchased for $14,900 and depreciates at $1,660 per year. Calculate its book value after 5 years. So we're going to find the salvage after 5 years. We're going to use our formula. So the salvage equals the original value, okay, and then minus. So the amount of depreciation here is just 16,060, and then we're doing it for 5 years. So we just simply put the values into the formula. I should have said earlier, sorry, this model of depreciation doesn't use percentages, it uses the actual depreciation amount. So we're not using percentages in this instance. Okay, so its value after 5 years goes down to 6,600. So it's lost quite a lot of value in that 5 years. What's the scrap value if it is useful, if the useful life is 8 years? Okay, so basically we're trying to find what is the value after 8 years when its value kind of stops. And so it's no longer useful as a car. Let's say the car's broken down, but you can still sell it for parts. How much are those parts worth? So in this instance, the salvage after 8 years, we're just going to simply do the same formula, but times it by 8. And then we just can change the value in our calculator to 8, and we'll get $1,620. Okay, so that is it, just using this formula up here, substitute the values. Now, as a classic switcheroo with any formula that you're given, you might be given other values. So read the question carefully. So this one, we have the VO, and we also have the salvage price. So this is the salvage. This is the VO, okay, and then we're also given the number of time periods. We've got to find D. So salvage is 11,990, okay, VO is as such, and then minus D times 4, or 4D is probably a better way of writing it. Let me just fix that up. So we'll just change that to 4D. Okay, and then we want to rearrange this equation to get D as the subject. So we're going to take away this, Okay, and then we're going to divide by -4. So what we're going to end up putting in our calculator. Now you could put this in your calculator early, or you could just use your calculator once. That's going to give us our value of D. So pop that in our calculator, 11990 minus 21990, and then divided by -4. Gives us our depreciation of $2,500 per year. Okay, so again, substitute your values, rearrange, and so that you've got the unknown on its own, and then pop in your calculator and you get your value. All right, good luck today, guys, and have a good weekend when you're done. See ya.